Forecasting is fundamental to all organizations. Manufacturers use forecasting to determine the demand for products, the number of employees to hire, expansion needs for facilities, and ultimately, forecast profits. Similarly, in the service sector, restaurants and hotels must forecast capacity for the long term, purchasing contract blanket orders for the intermediate term, and for the short term must use forecasting to schedule and purchase labor, food, and immediate supplies. Hard Rock faces all of these forecasting issues in its cafes, hotels, and nightclubs. Long-term forecasting is done to determine the capacity needed for growth of sales per store. In the intermediate term, contracts for items such as raw materials for leather jackets are issued 8 months out. And in the short term, food and labor must be forecast. Todd Lindsay, Senior Director, Finance, manages the forecasting activities.
Having an accurate forecast for sales is very important to our business because there's a number of things that we do with the sales forecast. Most importantly, all areas of the organization need to be plugged into an appropriate sales forecast for a year, anywhere from a year to a month to 5 years, because there's different areas of the company use a forecast for different things. Our purchasing managers, for example, will lock into long-term contracts for beef and for chicken and for pork based on the sales forecast that we have. So it's very important that I know not only how many customers are coming to my existing locations, but also how many new locations are on the horizon for us in the development plans. It's also vitally important to us from a treasury function as well, because the sales forecast is what helps drive the profit forecast. Profit forecast drives the cash flow forecast. Therefore, when I go to the banks and I try to determine what my borrowing needs are going to be, it's a really good idea to have a pretty tight forecast on what your cash flows are going to be.
In the forecasting chapter of your text, a variety of forecasting techniques are presented. Many of these techniques are used at Hard Rock Cafe. Techniques such as moving averages, weighted moving averages, exponential smoothing, and regression analysis are employed.
In a Hard Rock Cafe, when we set our managers' bonus targets at the unit, we use a weighted average, and we take a weighted average of the last 3 years' performance, with the heaviest weighting being on the most current year's performance. And the weighting is 40-40-20, 40 being the most current year, 40 being a year prior to that, and the 20 being the earliest year, or 3 years prior. And we take a weighted average of that, and we set the targets. We set their bonus targets based on those averages, and to the effect that they can have the moving average exceed their target, then they get bonus for improving their sales.
Company forecasts also rely on these techniques.
We do a number of different forecasts at Hard Rock Cafe. We start out at the unit level, or the cafe level, and there's 55 owned cafes, and every month we do a forecast at each of those cafes. Those forecasts are then reviewed by me and my staff. We then roll those forecasts up for the month, for the quarter, and for the year. We take a look at what the performance looks like for the month versus what our budgeted expectations were, and then also what our performance was from the prior year. We try to isolate any major variances in the forecast and determine what the root cause of those variances are, and then make determinations on whether we need to make any changes in our course over the course of the year.
The primary issue for Hard Rock's forecasts is the number of people who walk through the door.
It's vitally important that we know how many people walk in the front door. The only way we know that is through capturing that data from our point of sale or POS equipment that's in each of the cafes. There's a definite count of customers that we capture based on the number of entrees that come out of our kitchen, so we know actually how many people have come to dine with us. As well as we not only have that, but we also have an actual physical count of human beings that actually walk into the front door. So there may be people that come in for a dessert occasion or a bar occasion. So we know how many people in total came in the cafe, how many of those actually ordered entrees, and then we know exactly what they bought, because every single POS transaction is captured from the unit and is sent back to the corporate office where we house that in a data warehouse. And from those transactions, then we compile all the statistics on the average consumer.
These statistics, when combined with data on weather, conventions, and food and beverage costs, affect the finalized forecasts. With the added expertise provided by the Hard Rock Cafe's general manager, these short-term schedules are determined. Long-term forecasts also are reviewed by corporate headquarters to ensure they reflect any planned changes, such as remodeling or menu changes. Hard Rock uses regression analysis when planning menu changes.
When we're looking at our menu, we sometimes use some advanced mathematical techniques, multiple regression analysis, per se, to identify how the demand in one particular menu item is related to the demand in other particular menu items. So we're able to take a look at our menu and drill down into what the actual price elasticity of demand is for one particular item. And as we move the price on that item, we can also look at what the actual impact is going to be on other related items. So as I move say for example the price on a hamburger again up $1, I know that that people are going to move off of that menu item, and I know what rate they're going to move off of that menu item, and then I can actually identify where they're going to move to. They're going to move to sandwiches, or they're going to move to the chicken sandwich, or they're going to move to, if it's the cheeseburger I take up, maybe they're going to move off to the hamburger, or they're going to move to the hickory burger. But through multiple regression analysis on our menu items, we can identify what a change in pricing on one item is going to do to the demand for another.
The Hard Rock Cafe, like many service organizations, has unique forecasting needs that aren't always met with quantitative models. But you can be certain that the information resulting from Hard Rock's corporate use of forecasting techniques forms a solid basis for finalizing local forecast needs.
When they were looking for quotes, I said we should put money, 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 money on the wall.